Before we kick off tonight's Soccer Bedtime Story, a huge thank you to our bedtime ballers, our monthly supporters who help keep this podcast going strong for soccer-loving families around the world. If you love what we do and want to help us tell more stories, consider joining the team by becoming a bedtime baller at soccerbedtimestories.com or in the link in the show notes. It's like buying us a warm stadium pretzel or a halftime hot dog. But instead of filling your belly, you're fueling stories, dreams, and magical soccer evenings. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at MySoccerBedtime to catch exclusive content, bedtime shoutouts, and opportunities to chat with your soccer friends. All right, boots off, blankets on. It's time for tonight's story. Hello, soccer friend. Snuggle in close and let the day drift away like a ball rolling gently out of play. Tonight, we're traveling back to a summer when the air smelled like sea salt and fireworks, when stadium lights glowed over coastal cities and an entire country held its breath for a championship on home soil. A place where the grass was green and the crowds were oh so loud. But our story doesn't begin with a trophy. It begins with a team that arrived with quiet hopes and heavy memories, a team that wasn't expected to sparkle or shine. They weren't chasing fame, they were chasing something simpler. Respect. One goal, one win, one moment that proved that they belonged on the big stage. They came with a coach who believed in patience more than flash, in shape and discipline, in doors that stay locked no matter who knocked. They came with players who understood that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stand your ground, shoulder to shoulder, and wait for the right moment. And then, on the opening night of the tournament, they stepped into the roar of the host nation, and the world started to feel something shift. So close your eyes, take a slow breath, and listen closely, because this is the story of an underdog voyage so unlikely, it still feels like a dream. Like a treasure ship gliding into the harbor when no one thought it could make it across the sea. Underdogs, Greece and the 2004 European Championship. Before the tournament even began, there wasn't much noise around Greece. No glowing predictions, no highlight reels screaming future champions. If anything, the story everyone expected was simple. Portugal, as the host nation, would shine at home. The giants like France, Germany, the Netherlands would advance. And Greece would do its best, collect a few hard lessons, and head home quietly. The players understood why people felt that way. Greece's memories of major tournaments were heavy ones, like an old shadow that followed them onto every new field. Back in 1994 at the World Cup in the United States, they had played 3 matches, conceded 10 goals, and scored none. Years later, that record still sat in the background of every conversation, whispering doubts even as a new generation tried to step forward. So when they gathered before Euro 2004, nobody stood up and promised a trophy. Captain Theodoros Zagorkis wasn't making speeches about destiny. Keeper Antonis Nikopolidis wasn't talking about lifting silverware. Defenders like Delis and Kaspis weren't imagining parades. The honest goal was simpler. Be competitive. Represent Greece with pride. Score a goal, win a game, and leave a better memory behind than the last one. Their coach, Otto Rehhagel, didn't ask them to become artists. He asked them to become unbreakable. He looked at his squad, steady fullbacks like Angelos Charisteas and Takis Visas, hardworking midfielders like Kostas Kastoranis and Angelos Charisteas, and clever outlets like Cardenas and striker Charisteas, who turned one chance into one goal, and he built a plan that matched who they were. Greece would stay organized, they would defend as one, they would fight for every loose ball as if it belonged to the entire country. They would not pretend to be something they weren't. They would do what they could, and do it really well. And then the tournament opened in Portugal, and everything felt louder and brighter and heavier. There were banners in the streets, crowds spilling into plazas, and the sense that the host nation was about to celebrate something special. Greece's first match wasn't just against a team, it was against a nation itself. Portugal had stars everywhere. Luis Figo, Deco, a certain teenager by the name of Cristiano Ronaldo. All speed and fearless eyes, stepping onto a stage that seemed built for them, seemed to be built for him. The stadium expected a party. Greece arrived like a team that had already made peace with being underestimated. Early in the match, they struck first, clean and sudden. Georgios Kargounis found the net, and the noise in the stadium shifted as if the crowd had to check the scoreboard twice. Then, unbelievably, Greece struck again, this time from the penalty spot, with Angelos Charisteas keeping his nerve and rolling the ball home. Portugal pushed back, of course, and in their final minutes, a young Cristiano Ronaldo scored a late goal that felt like a promise of the future. But it was too late to change the ending. Greece had won 2-1. All over Europe, people blinked at the result, like they'd read it wrong. Some called it a fluke, a strange opening night wobble for the hosts. One of those things that happens in football, then disappears. But Greece didn't treat it like a lucky accident. They treated it like evidence, proof of what they could do. Next came Spain, another heavyweight, another team that expected to control the game. Greece, though, didn't chase shadows. They didn't panic when Spain had the ball. Delis and Capsis stayed solid. Visas and Sitardis held their ground. Kastoranis and Vicinas battled in midfield. Sigorkis kept everyone connected. And when Greece found their moment, they took it. Charisteas rising to score to earn a 1-1 draw that felt like another quiet message to the tournament. We're still here. By the time the third group match arrived, Greece had already done more than most people thought possible. But football has a way of testing you, right when you start to believe. Against Russia, Greece lost 2-1, and for a stretch of that final day, it looked like the dream would end in the group stage after all. For a moment, they were heading out. And then, as if the tournament itself leaned in closer, the standing shifted. Portugal finished above Spain, and that in that tiny detail, small on paper, enormous in reality, sent Greece through as group runners-up. They advanced ahead of Spain on goals scored, slipping into the knockout round not with fireworks, but with a quiet, stubborn kind of survival. They had entered Euro 2004, hoping to score just one goal. They left the group stage with something far more valuable: hope. When the group stage ended, Greece had already done what they came to do. They had scored. They had won a match. They had shown they could compete. If the story ended there, it would have been a respectable summer. One to hold up against the old shadows and say, see, we're not that team anymore. But the team's vision and goals and dreams didn't end there. Neither did the tournament. Because now came the knockout rounds, where every match is a trapdoor, one mistake, and you fall through. Or one moment, and you rise. The reward for surviving the group was a quarterfinal against the defending champions, France. And not just any France. This Le Bleu team with Zidane's calm brilliance, Henry's speed, Vieira's power, Perez's elegance. A team that felt like royalty, perhaps like Greek gods. Some Greek players still had their post-tournament plans in place. One teammate even had a wedding scheduled soon after, and the arrangements stayed as they were. Not because anyone had given up, but because everyone knew that this was the end of the road. They were proud to be there. They were proud to have made it out of the group. But France was, well, France. On the day of the match, Greece didn't try to become something they weren't. They didn't pretend they could trade attacks for 90 minutes. They did what they had practiced. They stayed compact. They marked tightly. They crowded the space where French magic usually breathes. Every time Zidane turned, there was a shadow. Every time Henry started a run, a defender is already leaning into the lane. Greece didn't win the ball and rush forward recklessly. They moved with purpose, choosing moments, choosing patience, letting France grow frustrated in the quiet. And then, in the second half, Greece found their opening. A cross floated in, and Angelos Charisteas rose above the defenders and headed the ball into the net. Not a thunderbolt, not a storm of chances. One clean moment, one honest goal, and suddenly the defending champions were the ones chasing, pressing, pleading. Yet Greece held firm. When the whistle blew, the unthinkable happened. France were out. Greece were through. The criticisms came quickly. People complained that Greece were boring, too defensive, too blunt. Greece didn't care. They knew their strengths, they knew their limits, and they knew something else too. In tournaments, you don't get extra points for style. You get points for surviving. Next came the semifinal against the surging Czech Republic. The team many believed was the best in the tournament. They were powerful, creative, fearless. The kind of team that can score from anywhere. The kind of team that makes underdogs tired just by moving the ball. Greece approached the match the same way they approached everything. Stay close, stay disciplined, make the game uncomfortable. Force the Czechs to solve problems in tight spaces again and again until the solutions start to feel expensive. The Czech chances came, shots flew, crosses bent into the box. The match stretched into extra time and the night felt endless, as if the stadium itself was holding its breath. Then, right before the break in extra time, Greece won a corner. The ball swung in, bodies rose, and Traianos Dallas, the tall defender had spent the match guarding space like a fortress, climbed into the air and headed the ball home. It was the silver goal, a rule that ended the match at halftime of extra time if one team was leading. Greece's goal landed like a stamp on the page. Boom! The story didn't need a longer ending. Greece were going to the final. And guess what? Waiting for them in that final was the one opponent. That one opponent, not a team, a nation. Portugal, again. The tournament had begun with Greece and Portugal, and now it would end with Greece and Portugal. Under the same bright lights, in the same country, in front of the same desperate hope of a host nation hungry for its own fairy tale. Portugal had recovered from that opening loss. They had fought through the bracket. They had a nation behind them and the stars ready to shine. Luis Figo searching for the perfect cross. Deco hunting for space. Cristiano Ronaldo still young, still fearless, already carrying the weight of expectation like it belonged to him. Portugal wanted revenge. Greece was praying for just one more quiet miracle. The final was tensed, almost cautious, as if both teams could feel what was at stake and didn't want to blink first. Portugal pressed, but Greece stayed in shape. Greece didn't chase widely. They shifted together, like a single creature moving side to side, sealing off gaps, turning Portugal's possession into impatience. And then, just before the hour mark, Greece earned a corner. Angelos Charisteas placed the ball and sent it curling into the box. Portugal's goalkeeper hesitated. Defenders stepped and stumbled. And Angelos Charisteas rose again as if he had been waiting for this exact second all summer. His header was clean. The net moved. And the stadium, so loud at the start of the tournament, fell into a stunned kind of silence. The kind when reality changes shape. Portugal attacked after that. They sent crosses, they pushed forward, they searched for an equalizer with increasing urgency. But Greece did what they had done to everyone else. They locked the door. They cleared the danger, they held their lines, they waited out the storm without panic. The final whistle came, and Greece were champions of Euro. Not because they scored the most goals, though they did in this game. Not because they dazzled the crowd. They won because they were disciplined, united, and brave enough to trust who they were. They won because they understood that an underdog doesn't survive by pretending to be a favorite. An underdog survives by becoming unbreakable. When they flew home, Greens didn't just welcome a team, they welcomed a miracle, a hope, a dream. People lined the roads from the airport into the city, flags waving, voices hoarse, faces shining. For miles and miles, the country turned into a one long celebration, as if everyone wanted to be part of the proof, as if everyone was now scaling Olympus. So friend, now the stadium fades, the lights soften, the roar of Portugal becomes a distant echo, like waves rolling back into the sea. And in the quiet that follows, the story of Greece in 2004 feels even more unbelievable. The team didn't arrive as favorites. They arrived with simple hopes and long memories. They didn't try to play like the biggest teams. They played like themselves. Organized, united, unbreakable. They showed the world that courage can look like discipline, and that belief can look like holding your line when everyone expects you to crack. And perhaps that's the lesson of this treasure ship. You don't have to be the loudest, richest, or most celebrated to win something extraordinary. Sometimes you just have to stay together, stay steady, and trust that one moment, one header, one corner, one chance can change everything. Sleep well and dream big, soccer friend. Hey, soccer friends, if you're still up, here's a quick quiz for you about Greece and the 2004 final. If you don't know some of the answers, just go back and listen to the story again. All right, question 1. Who did Greece beat in the Euro 2004 final? Was it Spain, Portugal, or France? Question 2. What was the score of Greece's 3 knockout wins? Quarterfinal, semifinal, and final. Was it 2-1 each time? Was it 1-0 each time? Or was it 3-2 each time? And finally, how did Greece score the winning goal in the final against Cristiano Ronaldo in Portugal? A header from a corner kick? A long-range shot from midfield? Or a penalty kick in stoppage time? All right, here are the answers. Not only in the final, but in the first game as well, Greece defeated the host nation, Portugal. In the knockout rounds, Greece won each game 1-0, not a high-scoring behemoth. And their final winning goal in the final came from a set piece, a header from a corner kick. Perhaps this is where Arsenal gets their lessons this season. All right, friends. Talk to you soon. Sleep well and dream big. Thanks for joining us under the stars. If tonight's story brought you joy, here are 3 simple ways to keep the magic going. 1. Become a bedtime baller. Support the podcast for the cost of a stadium churro or a match day snack at soccerbedtimestories.com. You can find the link in the show notes as well. 2. Follow us on Instagram at MySoccerBedtime. We'd love to see where you listen, who your favorite players are, or even what bedtime looks like at your house. 3. Read the biggest soccer adventure so far. Grab a Soccer Mystery Chronicles, The Haunting of St. Mary's Stadium, and dive into the world of haunted tunnels, hidden relics, and brave sisters solving the game's greatest mystery. With your support, we'll keep telling the stories that help kids and adults fall asleep dreaming of goals, teamwork, and faraway stadiums. Sleep well and dream big, soccer friends.